Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you've been having a good past week. I felt like it's been forever since I've chatted with you guys because the last video I filmed sitting down was a get ready with me. So how are you guys? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys have been up to. As you can tell from the title below, this is going to be a video where I tell you guys my 10 of my favorite comedy shows on Netflix. Personally, I watch TV shows way more than movies or documentaries, so I thought it would be good to focus on that. If you love Netflix as much as I do, remember to give this video a thumbs up, and while you're watching, please let me know if you're watching or have watched any of the shows that I'm talking about, because I would love to know. Netflix is one of my favorite things in life, which I'm sure most of you guys can relate to. So it would be cool if we could have a discussion below about different shows. Feel free to recommend shows you might think I enjoy. This episode, that sounds very official, but this video will be focused on comedy, but I do plan on doing others for different genres, which I think will be really fun. The first show is the show that has absolutely taken over my life since I have returned from Japan. I started watching the first episode a few days after I got back, and it was Please Like Me. First of all, if you're from Australia, you will appreciate that it was made by an all-Australian cast and it was filmed here in Melbourne, which is where I'm from. So if you've ever been interested in what my local area looks like, watch that show, because all the houses and the buildings and everything is so familiar. They even go to my local shopping centre. Please Like Me is basically centered around one character, and he is gay. It's basically showing his life. He has roommates, he has friends, he goes out on dates with people. It's just normal life. It's nothing crazy, but it is absolutely hilarious, and at the same time, absolutely just heartbreaking. While it's covering a lot of really important LGBTI+ topics, he also focuses a lot on mental health, which is really important to me. Both of those things are, and he approaches it in a very realistic way. He doesn't try to glamorize it at all. He just makes it very raw. If you don't have a mental illness yourself, I'm sure you do know someone that has a mental illness, so it is really interesting watching it on screen and seeing how other people deal with the situation and how they support each other. The main character is played by Josh Thomas, and he writes the episodes and he directs some of the episodes himself. Also, from a filming perspective, Please Like Me is really pretty, which I really appreciate, and it's really cool knowing that all these people are not only in the Australian film industry or maybe in the Melbourne industry. Now, moving on to show number 2. This one I watched a while ago last year, but I really liked it. I didn't think I would, but there was something about it that just kept me watching, and it was quite a few seasons from what I remember, and it is Arrested Development. There's something about the humor in this that is not really similar to the stuff I usually like. I feel like sometimes I'll find this a bit too kind of cheesy slapstick, but there's something about it that just works for me, and I just could not stop watching it. It's a really big family, so you actually get to see all of their lives, which is what keeps you so hooked, because even if you're bored of one character, there's so many others that you're interested in. And basically the dad in the family runs a real estate business, and it's really successful and big, and they have a lot of money, but then he commits a crime and is taken to jail. So his son has to run it, and his son isn't a businessman necessarily, and he sort of shares the load across all of his family. This sounds really harsh, but they're all just such failures in their own way. You just watch their lives crumble and you're just like, ah! And it sounds really serious when you say it that way, but it is such a funny show. Now, the next show is one that I'm currently watching because it hasn't finished at all. The new season just came out, season 2? I'm pretty sure. And I'm only on episode 3, so please don't spoil it to me. So, the TV show Love, I'm pretty sure is a Netflix original. The show is set in Hollywood, LA, which is a really cool location to film in. I know a lot of stuff is made in Hollywood, but I feel like actually in LA is a really cool place to film in. It's basically two people's lives intertwining, and their lives alone are so interesting. But watching them intertwine and watching them clash and watching them sometimes really work, it's just so interesting, and a lot of my friends love this show, and every time I say love when I'm talking about the show, it feels like a pun. Very engaging. It's definitely a very modern sense of humor. I really like the fact that the guy works in the film industry. Well, not exactly. He's like a teacher for actors. It's just really cool seeing film sets inside a TV show, because you're like, that is a film set inside a film set. Does that make sense? It's always tripped me out when I watch shows like that. If you're interested in watching a show that is very well written, has good music, and is filmed well, I really, really recommend this show. I feel like the writing is something really, really special. The next show is a show that I know a lot of people don't really like, but I do like it, so I'm happy to be open about it. It is called Easy. It's a similar style in how it's structured to Black Mirror, if you guys watch Black Mirror, where each episode is a completely different story with different characters, but they are separate stories, so you can watch them in whatever order you like. I personally always watch those shows from beginning to end though, because I like seeing if the production value got better or worse. I just find that interesting. But obviously, if the first one doesn't capture your attention, then just move on to the next and see which one interests you. Often TV shows are action-packed and a lot happens, but Easy is almost made in a way that this is their entire lives, and it's a little like 24-hour period of their lives, or a little event that has taken place. You don't know what's happened before and you don't know what's happened after. All of how they're made is referred to as mumblecore, so a lot of it is conversations and some of it is made up on the spot by the actors, just whatever feels natural at the time. They're often lower budget. For example, someone would just film in my room. They wouldn't have a studio, which I personally love. I think that's really cool. It's very personal. Basically, the whole show is within the same world. It's all set in Chicago in the present day, and it's just showing the story of different people's lives in situations that are usually revolved around sex or love or just modern relationships in general. There's a lot of just things you wouldn't expect to see, like Tinder. Even just consider giving one episode a watch. I'll actually leave in the description some of my favorites because I can't remember them on top of my head. The next show is called Lovesick, and I just finished the most recent season. They're coming out with more seasons though. Well, I'd hope so. Otherwise, I'm left with a lot of unanswered questions. But this show is really something special, and I'm surprised more people don't speak about it because I feel like it's so similar to all the shows that people rave about. The main character, who is a guy, he finds out that he is diagnosed with an STI, and he's basically just brainstorming all the people that he has slept with, and basically each episode is him reflecting on his experience with them. All that comes with it, so interesting. I find relationships so fascinating, so I love it. And, you know, obviously like how it led to a sexual experience, but then it comes back to the present day and you basically see how the people in his lives back then, how they fit into his life now. And some of that is absolutely heartbreaking. It is definitely a comedy and a drama at the same time, because there are points that are really, really funny. I feel like it's generally like a pretty uplifted show. If you find some comedies a bit like, I don't get too much out of this, I need like a really good story, then you would really, really appreciate this. The next show is completely different to all the others. The show is Don't Trust the Bitch in Apartment 23. A lot of people get put off by the title Don't Trust the Bitch in Apartment 23, but as a character, she actually really embraces that bitch-like nature, and it's very empowering to watch, and she's a very lovable character. So it's actually not used in an insulting way, if that makes sense. I feel like after I watched that show, if people called me a bitch, I'd be like, yeah, I am. Sounds really weird, but she's just such a cool character. The show is centered around two female characters that are roommates in New York. One of them moves from a smaller place in America somewhere, and she wants to be a lawyer. And then the other girl, Chloe, she's just very interesting as a character. They are very different characters, but sometimes it works really, really well. Other times it clashes. And no matter what, it's so, so funny. There's something really, really great about it. If you're looking for a comedy show that you really want to be able to just sit down and watch over time, maybe you struggle to commit to shows and binge watching is not an option in your schedule, then I would really, really recommend this show. The next show I would describe as a combination of The In-Betweeners and Skins. Fresh Meat is basically a group of friends who are all roommates, and they're going to university, and they're all totally, totally different characters. So different. I have to admit, I didn't like the first few episodes, so if you have seen the first few episodes and got put off, keep pushing through because it keeps getting better and better and better and better. There's something about the characters that they made very stereotypical at the beginning, but I feel like it evened out and they became really good at the character development. The characters were very complex. I feel like I hated them in some ways, but I also loved them. And I also felt really sorry for them sometimes. I felt really proud of them sometimes. And it almost felt like being with a group of friends, how you're aware they're complex, but you love them because of it. And Oh, I don't know, it's just really special to me. There's also some really heartfelt moments in the show. I think I have cried a few times from it, which is bizarre because sometimes it is so light-hearted, so it's crazy that it has such a spectrum of emotions, but I love shows like that. I find that comedies that are straight out comedy, I'm less attracted to. Funnily enough, I actually mentioned this before, but The In-Betweeners. I love The In-Betweeners. I didn't actually watch it when it was on Netflix. It is such a funny show. If you like British comedy, you would absolutely love it. It's the show that definitely made me realize how much I appreciate British comedy. A lot of people loved it in high school. I didn't actually watch it back then though. I had seen a couple of episodes or scenes and thought it was funny, but I hadn't watched it properly. And when you watch it properly, I just remember looking forward to it so much. Basically focused on a group of guys and all of their priorities at the time, which at the time were, you know, sex, girls, drinking, parties. I feel like as soon as I talk about this, people are going to realize what show I'm talking about. Basically, I watched the whole first season of this and I still wasn't even sure I liked it. And then I kept watching it, and I realized I really liked it, which is very bizarre, but obviously something in the story was still keeping me there. And it's actually a Netflix original and it's called Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. There is a girl who is, I'm pretty sure, in her 30s. She's isolated from the world for a great number of years and then she is set free. Basically, the show is set in New York, so when she is finally set free to the world, it is quite a culture shock to her because everything is very modern and new and the way people speak and act is very different, and she's basically adjusting to all of that while just trying to live her life. The time while she was away was a very traumatic time. It's seen in a very funny light when you're watching it, but if this was a news report, this would be like messed up. And it basically messes with her psychologically, but in a very humorous way. I think the thing I was unsure about was the main character. Because she was isolated for so long, she feels very childish to me because she is underdeveloped. So I think for a while she just annoyed me and I felt frustrated by it. The Last Show is a show that isn't a Netflix original and I actually watched it before Netflix even existed. And I'm sure most of you guys have seen this show, but I just had to mention it because it's on Netflix now, which is incredible because it is such a good show. And if I rewatched it, I know I would fall right back in love again. And it is How I Met Your Mother. Seriously, so good. I was chatting with my friends about it today, just one episode, and even just talking about it made us crack up so much. So funny. And a really good story. Basically a man who is on the journey to find his future wife. The reason why it's so interesting is because each episode he is telling his children how he met their mother. So you know there is a mother at the end of it, and the whole time you're watching it, you're guessing who it could be. It also has a group of amazing friends, and two of them are a couple, and it's just, it means so much to me. I love all the characters so much. Like, I would be friends with every single one of them. And the show just means so much to me. It's definitely one of my favorite shows. Anyway, that's it. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, remember to give it a thumbs up and please let me know personally if you did, because I would love to make this an ongoing series. I love Netflix and I'm only going to be watching more and more. It might push me to get a little bit out of my comfort zone to watch some TV shows that aren't usually in the genre that I would watch. Really hope you enjoy the upcoming videos during the week, which will be another vlog, which is more up to date now because I just finished my last vlog before Japan. So we're skipping a month ahead, which is exciting, and another Japan vlog. Anyway, I better go now because I'm exhausted and you guys wouldn't have realized that this camera has died multiple times during this video because I forgot to charge it fully before I started filming. Totally my fault. Anyway, I'll see you in my next video. Bye.